I'm Edyta Sitar from Laundry Basket Quilts. Welcome to Quilting Window. I am so thankful you took the time and wanted to quilt with me. What a wonderful day. We are making block 13 for our Alaska Rainbow Quilt Along. Oh, this block is just beautiful and it's right here in the center of the quilt. We have gone through all the blocks 1 through 12, made 4 of each of the blocks, and now we are to the end. If you're just starting, make sure you go to our video number 1 and follow along. You can start anytime using your own fabrics, or you maybe want to purchase a kit. And we do have 1 or 2 left of the Alaska Rainbow regular kits. All of the pre-cut kits sold out, but we are working on another version of that quilt, so stay tuned. Maybe in a little bit we will announce it if we have more of the rainbow options. I'm looking at my linen texture fabrics and working with those. I hope you guys gonna like it. So there are more coming in. If you would like to make a scrappy option of the quilt, we have a color splash roll. It's just wonderful, and our beautiful olive branch fat quarter bundle. You can work with those to make a beautiful rainbow quilt. For today, I open one of the blocks from the pre-cut package, and this block is just one block in a package. That's block 13. I laid it out, all my pieces out, and we're gonna have 4 diamonds in pink, 4 diamonds in burgundy, red accent for half diamond B, then we have a burgundy accent for half diamond B, and we have a 4 triangles for the corner triangle D in red. We're gonna start by taking the diamond and using our templates, not only for cutting, but we also can use the templates for marking our pieces. We're gonna mark our sewing points, and the most questions I got it last week was, do I sew it from point to point, or do I sew all the way? It's your personal preference. What I recommend, try point to point and try one all the way and see which one works the best for you. There really is not much benefits to one or the other. It is just personal preference. I sew it all the way. I mark a point to point for my pinning. So that's where I pin, but I sew all the way. I'm gonna start sewing, zoom, 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 flip it open, and I have already one that it's done. Look at this. I just sewed it, flip it open with my fingers. I'm gonna go ahead and open that seam, and we had a cute little tool. I think all of you girls and guys should get one of those for your Christmas gift. It is wonderful. And with that tool, look at how quickly I can press that seam open. Super. Then from the other side, I'm gonna put the other half diamond B, place it in the right places. By now, because this is my last block, I know exactly where to lay my pieces. I'm gonna sew it straight down. Finish. As soon as I finish, I'm gonna go ahead, open up the seam. Look at this, open it up, and this is what I'm gonna do to all 4 light pink diamonds, and then I'm gonna move on to the corner units right here. The same idea, diamond, add a triangle right to it, open, sew another one. Look how wonderful. Oh, look at this. This one is already sewn. I'm gonna again open it up. Beautiful. And then I just have to add this triangle right here, and I have already done in this area. I have prepared this block for you to show you the step by step and little bit by little bit to show you how it progresses. So once you open this up, do not forget that your template can be used not only for marking points, but also you can lay this template and trim it to make sure that everything is perfect. So that's what I would do. As soon as I finish, I would have beautifully pressed it and did that. The next step, 4 corner wedges right here. I will put this half triangle D, right sides together, pin, pin, sew it, flip it open. Look at, I have one beautifully done right here. Be careful, don't lose this point right there. And now I have all the wedges done. Let me swap this with this just for a moment so you see. Now I'm gonna go ahead and sew quarters of the block. quarters of the block, just like this seam right here. And you just sew it by taking this, placing right sides together, and remember, most important part, you want to pin it right here, because you want to make sure that this right there, this line right there, transition beautifully between the lines, so you have a really good transition. Sew it into the quarters. As soon as you finish sewing into the quarters, you're gonna go ahead, grab your ruler, place it right over, trim it just like we learned in the last video and video before that. Now you have 4 corners, and guess what? As soon as you have 4 quarters of the block, you are ready, set, go to go ahead and assemble the whole block. Look at how beautiful it looks. And now we have our center block. Just to place it right here, it is like a cherry on the top of a cake. And I know you're waiting for that next option, the scrappy version of that block. Look what I did. I changed some color, did a little bit more orange, and popped that orange with a little purple to make this scrappy option a little bit different than the one that I have behind me. But all that I did is I follow my pattern, follow the recipe in the pattern for all of the colors, and I assign different colors or different fabrics to each, but I did follow the color option as close as possible, and then position my pieces into the blocks exactly as the recipe. So having the pattern, very important. And now we just finished our last block, so you are now need to take all your blocks and you're gonna go ahead and lay your quilt out. Lay your quilt out. Stand back, check that everything is okay. I know it happens to me sometimes too. Maybe something have turned around or didn't come out perfect. Now is the time to adjust that. And once you know that all your blocks, every color, everything is laying perfectly, you're gonna go ahead and start sewing your blocks together. And I have first 3 blocks from the first row, my corner block, then my second block right here, and my third block. Just because I'm limited in space, I only grab the first 3 blocks. When you do the quilt, you're gonna lay out the whole row, another row, another row, another row. You're gonna go like that because you want to have all nicely, beautifully in the rows. And now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna place my blocks right sides together, and I'm gonna pin it, pin it, pin it. Make sure that I pin, and I am paying attention that I'm not gonna lose any of my points right there. So when I'm putting my pin, let me show you. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pin. Oh, there they are, hiding away. And those are the patchwork pins. I really, really like them. I'm gonna put a pin right through this point and make sure that on this side it comes up right through this point right here. So that way I'm not only following my 1/4 inch seam allowance, but I'm following these points because I don't want to end up with them inside my seam. And I'm gonna stay shy to the right side of my points when I'm stitching from the top straight down. Why to the right side? Because if you right on it, then when you open your block, sometimes the edges roll in, and once you finish sewing, you're gonna go ahead, open it up, and you're gonna press the seams open. Remember, we press all our seams open. You can press those seams open. If you don't want to do that, in the pattern I show you, press your seams all one direction in first row, opposite in the second, and then it's easier to lock your seams. But remember, we were worried about some of the colors peeking through the light, so make sure that when you're sewing, especially like here, that this blue from back of the seam is not peeking through your white. So very important, really make the choices on depends on the fabric. But yes, if you wanted to, you can push seams one way, the other way, one way, lock the seams, sew rows, then sew rows together, press your quilt center, and then go ahead, add the borders by adding the top and a bottom and a left and a right sides of the border, and you're gonna have the most beautiful quilt ready for quilting. And speaking of quilting, you're probably wondering, what do I like to do to my quilts? Sometimes custom quilting, it does add so much to it, but sometimes when the quilt is very elaborate already and has a lot of color, just going with the edge to edge, something simpler, really does help. Admire the design that you have done it with the colors. So it's gonna be up to you. This quilt I quilted edge to edge, but the other quilt that I have quilted custom, and it is just beautiful. So it's a personal option. If you have the time, you wanted to do something special, always custom quilting adds to it. But I have to tell you, Alaska quilt, the simplicity of it really adds to that beauty, not only to the quilt, but just the wonderful, wonderful idea of Alaska being so pure and just wonderful. So simple, less is better. That's my advice to you. And I know you cannot wait to see my scrappy version of the quilt. I promise you, I'm going to have it done. It's taking me a little longer than I expected. And yes, I do need my center block to finish my quilt. So next time I see you, I promise you, you get to see my scrappy Alaska version of the quilt. Be patient. Happy quilting, and I wish you happy Thanksgiving. And I am sure thankful that you took the time and quilt with me, and we were able to do this Alaska Rainbow Quilt Along together. It was so much fun, and I hope to quilt with you again. In January, we have our Winter Village Quilt Along coming up, so come on in, join in, let's build a beautiful winter village together and enjoy each other's company. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website for anything that you would like for quilting. I hope to see you again. Happy quilting!